We'll be going over the basics of creating selections in Acorn. Over here in the Tools palette, you can find the rectangular, elliptical, free select or lasso, polygonal, and magic wand selection tools. Let's start by choosing the rectangular selection tool, and to create a selection, just click and drag on the canvas. You can see here the area we have selected, and by hitting the delete key, we can delete the part of the layer within the selection. I'm going to hit Command Z to undo to bring our pixels back. We can view our selection as either marching ants or clipped out. For this tutorial, we're going to view our selections as clipped out to make it easier to demonstrate where our selection is. To get rid of a selection, go to Select, Clear Selection, or use keyboard shortcut Command D. Now let's spend a minute going through each of the selection tools. The elliptical selection tool creates circles or ellipses. The freehand selection tool allows you to drag in order to create the outline of your selection. This is really handy for selecting irregular areas. The polygonal selection tool is similar to the freehand tool, except you have more of a pointed edge that's created every time you click with your mouse or cursor to change directions. You can double-click to end selecting. The magic wand selection tool works by selecting the pixel color. Click on the pixel color you want to select, and then increase or decrease the tolerance of the wand by dragging in or out with your cursor. By dragging out, we are increasing the tolerance, and back in, decreasing. This is a really handy way for removing unwanted objects or backgrounds from an image. If we uncheck the contiguous wand box, then we'll be able to select all the pixels in the image that are of a certain color. Now, we're going to talk about the different selection modes. Right now, we're in regular mode. Each time we draw a selection, it will be replaced by the most current selection. If we choose Addition mode, Acorn will combine the selections into one selection, so you can create neat-looking selections this way. The Subtraction selection mode subtracts subsequent selections from the initial selection, so we are going to subtract the area of overlap from the first selection. The Intersect selection mode keeps the area of overlap, so any area that's present in both will be retained. Next, we'll be talking about selection tips and tricks. If you want to create a perfectly square square while using the rectangular selection tool, hold down the Shift key while you draw your selection, and Acorn will make sure all sides are of equal lengths. You can also draw a perfect circle with the elliptical selection tool by holding down the Shift key. If you'd like to have your selection expand from the middle, you can hold down the Option key while dragging out your selection. This is really handy for selecting eyes and other objects where you want to get that selection just right. You can see here, Acorn comes up with a tooltip when hovering over a selection. If you hold down the Command key, you can click and drag to cut and move the selection. Another trick is if you hold down Command and Option at the same time, Acorn will continually copy and paste your selection each time you release your click. You can create neat image effects this way. So here's a quick example of how you can use a selection to create a neat photo effect. Go to Layer, New Layer with Selection. Deselect by using keyboard shortcut Command D, and then add a filter, such as a drop shadow. We just covered the basics of Acorn's selection tools. Be sure to also check out the written documentation for further selection tutorials.